Man, there's some good looking fish.
I agree. And you know what's even better looking than them fish, and I'll say it again, I say it every week, are the smiles on those people's faces.
That's right. And I want to thank you for letting me know that Betty Jean made Brandon let her hold his big fish for that picture.
I had nothing. I did not say that. You know, I just caught an ear from her not 10 minutes before I came backstage. You know that, don't you?
I didn't know that, but
it's like it's conspiracy. I tell you, everybody picks on me all the time. It's because I'm too nice a guy, plain and simple.
I understand completely.
So how you doing, bud? What's going on?
Oh man, I had shots in the back yesterday. I'm trying to get over that. It still hurts, but I'm not sure now if it's from the original back pain or whether it's from the 3 shots that guy give me.
I don't think the people listening or in chat know that I got some pretty severe neck problems I've been seeing a doctor for and stuff. And here I was just thinking of this. I'm sitting here moving my neck to that silly song. It's probably not helping it any. You guys are going to see me in a few months, probably in here in a neck brace like this.
Hey, if it makes you better, you got to do what you got to do. And that's what I told this guy. He said, because they go in there at least once or twice a year and burn them nerves in my lower back. And they don't have any pain until they grow back together. They always grow back together. So he said, if this don't do it, we'll have to do that again. I'm thinking, God damn, man, why don't we just do it and start with?
Well, you're a cash register. Every time you come in there is a big cha-ching.
Well, you know, I wonder if that's it. Or he says the insurance company wants you to do the other first. And I'm thinking, as many times as I've had this done, that cannot be 100% true.
You know what we need to do, Lyle, since we're both older gentlemen and in need of care at our stature and age, is maybe buy a couple tickets to Mexico, get some stem cell therapy, and recover on the beach somewhere with margaritas. What do you say?
I'm thinking Crown, but margaritas will work too.
Trust me, you haven't had any good tequila. You'll be liking some.
Oh, I like tequila. It doesn't like me very well.
That's okay. That just makes life more interesting and fun.
It'd make my back hurt more, I'm quite sure.
Enough of that'll kill any pain you're feeling. There you go. Aaron says gummies. There you go. I try that stuff. It just puts me to sleep, Aaron. And I'm no good at sleep. I can't fish. I can't do the show. I can't do nothing when I'm sleeping. So.
Before we start announcing everybody that's in chat, Mark, I was telling you before we started, my lawnmower had some problems, and I had a guy come this morning. He picked it up, took it to his house or his shop, and he fixed it and brought it home. And right before you come in backstage, he brought it back, and I was out there visiting with him. And he was telling me last weekend, him and his son was on one of the local lakes that I fish, and I'm not going to get into which one it was. He was catching 10, 11-inch bluegills. They didn't keep anything unless it was 10-inch.
Oh, well, he did keep
occasionally they hit a 13 or a 14-inch crappie fishing for these bluegills. So
tasty to me, 100%. You know, you need to keep that kind of information to yourself, Lyle, because when you have those glory hero pictures that you got to post on Facebook or on the community tab, you don't want people thinking that somebody gave you a spot.
He's a really nice guy. We got to talking about elk and deer hunting this morning, and of course I don't do any of that anymore. I can't do it, and he's been to a lot of the places that I've been and hunted some of the areas that I've hunted. And so we had quite a bit of stuff to talk about. I never met the guy, but he fixed my lawnmower, and I'm very happy about that. I can steer it now. So my yard's way beyond mowing, and my daughter's is worse, and I got to do them both. So hopefully my back will quit hurting in the morning and I can do something.
Here, I want to highlight this. Aaron has a comment. He says, I like when people put the big breeders back and bull males. I always put the big bull males back just because they do the best job of protecting the nest. As far as the females go and stuff, fair game for me. I was just listening to Crappie Connection actually today while I was in the car, and they had a biologist talking about the crappie in Lake Barkley and Kentucky Lake. And he was explaining a bunch of stuff. Really good show. If you guys have a chance, go and check it out. It's on Crappie Connections YouTube page. He does a podcast as well. And he was explaining why they come up with the limits they do and how it pertains to them picking them as far as the breeders go. It's a good listen. Make sure you check that out if you have any questions or whatever. You'd be surprised what you'll learn and so on. So check them out.
Sounds like a good thing to listen to.
Let's see if we can get Brad on the show. Let's try and do that, Lyle. From Crappie Connection. Brad from Crappie Connection.
I don't know him, but we can work on that for sure.
Sounds good.
Be glad to have him on here. Speaking of having people on here, just for you guys' information, Caleb Hensley with 903 Fishing will be our guest next Wednesday night at 7. So if you guys know who that is, you'll know you want to tune in. Caleb has got a lot of things going on, but he agreed to do a show with Mark and I. And
second one with him.
Yeah, this will be his second one. He just proposed and got a yes, so he's getting ready to get married. From what I've seen on his videos, very nice young lady. Excited for him about that. He's really, really close to 100,000 subs, so hopefully we can help him push him over that limit next week. We'd really like to be part of helping him reach that stat. That's a big deal. 100,000 subs is a big deal. And I remember when we had him on Full Mark, he didn't have near that many. But
he did not.
He does really good. He's very consistent. A couple 3 shows a week, catches a lot of fish. He's also a school teacher. As far as I know, he's still doing that. Really good guy. We'll have a lot of fun with him on. And you guys can ask him some questions. I'm sure he'll be very happy to answer them. So we want to make sure that we do that. And Mark Barnum sent me a picture of a heck of a crappie caught up in Iowa, up by him. And it was a gigantic crappie.
If you forward that to me, Lyle, I can share it for us here in a few.
Okay, I'll try to do that here in just a second. I'll try to do that when you're welcoming everybody into chat.
That sounds good. And if you guys don't know who Caleb Hensley is, you might know him by his YouTube channel name, which is 903 Fishing. Yep. We've had Caleb on here a while back, like when how Lyle was saying he was a channel of, he was still a pretty decent sized channel. I think he was getting close to 20,000 when we did it, but now he's reaching that 100,000, like Lyle had mentioned. And I always like it when people we talk to, people that we support, people that we really liked talking to, have growth like Caleb has. He's also
that's right.
I believe he's a sports coach down in Texas too, isn't he?
Yes.
At a school,
that is
inner city school. He's good people, good guy. I love Caleb a lot. I see him on Sunday nights on his channel. He has a live, and his wife is 100% the engine that runs his operation. I believe she's very supportive. She runs a lot of his live stream and stuff. She's good people, 100%. So you're not going to want to miss that show next.
No, it'll be a great show.
I know I'm not going to miss it, Lyle.
Yeah, me either.
Okay. Ray Smith has been a member for 16 months. He says, hi, everybody. Thanks for your support, Ray. And Crappie Dave Fish On has been a member for 18 months. Release to the grease.
I like to turn big fish loose, but bluegills and crappie have such short lifespans. In the big lakes, I don't think they overpopulate. They do overpopulate in small lakes and ponds, so you have to keep some of them thinned out. But they only last a few years. They're not like catfish that goes on 30 or 40 years. So, but it does never hurt to release a giant breeding fish. It just never hurts.
The marine biologist for the west end of Kentucky who was on that show was saying that crappie live, up to 8 years, and they seldom make it to that far. So
Yeah, that sounds. Hey, there's Dave. All right.
Let me see who we got here in chat, Lyle. What do you say? Say hello to the people that are here tonight.
Let's do that.
I see our favorite Ohio fisher ladies. Benoit Fishing and Outdoors. What's going on? How you doing? Dave Garchar in the house. There's Kevin Capel. How you doing, Kevin? I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Mark Barnum. Hopefully Lyle will send me that picture of that crappie. Oh, excellent. We'll take a look at that here just after this. P&B Catfishing. What's going on, Paul? How you doing? There's my buddy Ryan over at Setting Hooks and Crossing Eyes. Twisted Fishing TV. What's going on, Frank? How you doing? And there's Aaron over at Up in the Air Run Outdoors. Let's see what Lyle had sent me here. You have to give me a second here, folks, to bring this up. If you guys haven't spoken up yet, please do so, and we'll be able to say hello to you. Check this out. Let me share this screen out here. Ooh, that's a dandy. Oh, that's a couple of sandwiches.
That's what I'm thinking. That's if you fillet both sides.
There, oh, Lyle, easy there. Look at that dandy.
Isn't that something?
15-inch black at Willow Lake by Larry Riffle. Exact location, top secret.
I can understand that.
I'm going to get me a couple of them to put on the wall behind me, Lyle, one of these days, or at least one. You know, when I was in Mendota and I wasn't thinking of it, I should have kept a couple of those big bluegill, maybe 3 of them, had them mounted for myself and put them up on the wall. That would make a hell of a wall piece, I think.
I had a friend of mine that was retired from the Ford Motor Company in Kansas City. And he learned taxidermy when he was on strike in the mid-'60s. He had a family to raise, and they didn't know how long he was going to be on strike. Some guy taught him how to do it. He helped me do some things, and he done a wood duck for me that one of my dogs chewed up. But regardless, he had a stringer that was attached to a stump that he had picked up fishing sometime. And on this stringer, there was like 6 or 8 really nice bluegill. And man, they was real shiny and pretty, and it made a hell of a mess. It was just beautiful. So
those are memories, Lyle. I mean, people give some people in this world will give you a problem with wanting to have a trophy like that, but you know what? When you do it, what we as fishermen do for conservation, there's nothing wrong with keeping some memories. I don't care what anybody says.
That's exactly right. 20-acre lake to grow that size of a crappie. That's amazing.
Mark, we're going to need GPS coordinates.
Yes. Yeah, I'm into making trips to catch good fish.
Aaron says, I hardly catch black crappie unless white crappie have their tuxedo on. It's just the opposite here, Aaron. Most of the crappie that we catch here are blacks for the most part. Just up, I don't know, last 2 years, maybe 3 years, I started finding some, very few whites, but they're always pretty big size. So I must say, I don't know if that's a fact or not, that they get bigger than the blacks or thicker than the blacks, but they're definitely the ones that I caught have been quite a bit larger than the blacks I usually catch.
I see that Tom has joined us. Matt with Wannabe Outdoors has joined us, and Kevin Baker. And if I'm not correct, Kevin has been under the weather, so it's great to see him in here. But I thought I seen.
What's up, Tom? LG Bass. Hello, Matt. How you doing? Kevin Baker, hope you're feeling better, buddy. And I needed to highlight this one for my buddy Ryan. He says I'd put a double 10-aught in it.
I can understand that too, really. I can. But now,
do with what you want, man. That's all.
Some states have a limit on how big a bluegill you can use for bait.
I think he's talking about that crappie.
Oh, I don't know if I can do that or not, but man, that's big flathead bait. There's hooks and hammocks. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris, what's going on? I know here on the river that if you have anything live bait that's 8 inches or bigger, you got to have a stinger hook in it for sure. Other than that, there's no, like I've said time and time again, there's no limit to size or quantity of the crappie here on the river. So,
Yeah. I still having a problem with you can do whatever you want with your fish, but you can't use it for bait. And if you can do whatever you want with it, then
I never said that.
no, not you, the Missouri Department of Conservation.
Oh, I think bass is fantastic bait.
I've always heard that. I'd like to try it for myself, though.
I wouldn't know anything about that, Lyle. Matt says, Mark, I was wondering, did you send those walleye fillets priority? No, USPS, and I forgot to put the dry ice in there, man. I apologize. They'll be cooked once they get to you, bud.
Oh, yeah. Kevin Baker says, still feeling good and resting. Thank y'all. Hugs. You're very welcome, Kevin. There's JG Hill has joined us.
So tonight's topic, Lyle.
Yes.
Fishing docks.
Yes.
Now, I took pictures. All right. Now, the thumbnail today, I'm sure everybody's seen it. I don't know if it's memorable or not. You kind of shot me down on the idea I had, figuring that our crowd might not like it, with a certain elderly gentleman looking puzzled on where to fish. We still may do that.
We might.
I might have to put him in a diaper, but I didn't say, wait a minute, did I say that out loud? I took a picture. All right, I was out fishing. What was it, on Tuesday when I took that picture? And I took pictures of so many docks. And the one that turned out best is one of my favorite ones to fish. So I think I gave it away right there. If you know, you know.
Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. There's people that have docks and they don't want you fishing around. But one of the things that I want to mention about that is they can't stop you. The lakes are public. So if they own the dock, that's fine. You can't get on it to fish off of it, but you can fish anywhere around that you can get by boat. Just don't let them catch you hitting it with your lures and stuff or sinkers and jig heads, and definitely do not let them catch you hit their boat.
You mentioned that, and I could hear my 16th-ounce jig head hitting the side of a pontoon.
Yeah.
Music to my ears.
Well, I have become done some stuff last year. We talked about this a little bit, Mark, and I told you that I practiced dock shooting in my front yard with a 5-gallon bucket turned over on its side. If you get where you can do that at 15, 20 yards or feet, however close you feel comfortable going with, it's a lot of fun. It really is, but that's not the only way to catch fish around a dock. Although I enjoy that a lot. And there's something about whacking that dock with that jig head when you miss. It's okay. It just, you kind of chuckle under your breath and go on. But slip corks and bobbers and stuff like that around docks is awesome for crappie and bluegill. Jigs are them docks. If people are fishing them, they got structure under somewhere or around it. So there's a reason they don't want you fishing.
Exactly, the ones you don't know. And I know not everybody's a fan of live scope, but you can find that structure that people have put underneath their docks too. So
inside cam works that way also.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Mark Barnum says Chad is not here to defend himself for that pick. Mark, no, I was talking about some other guy, not Chad. Not this time at least, but I like the way you're thinking. Yeah, you can vertical jig them if you're on the docks and stuff, but when you're on a boat like I am, a float is definitely the way to go. Dock shooting, which I'm terrible at. I'm not good. I haven't given it much practice, but but I'm not very good at it at all. I even got one of them fancy B&M dock shooters. I think it's called a 6-shooter, Lyle, isn't it?
I
The
don't know.
B&M, if I'm not mistaken. I got
Nope.
one of them for Christmas. What was it, year before last? And I don't think it's ever left my rod rack yet to practice. I need to put a bucket out in my front yard and practice. But to be honest with you, a lot of the docks around here aren't that tall, or they got boats around them, or they have boat lifts on them because they're on the river. The current, you usually don't want to keep your boat in the current in the river. You want to get it up and out of the current and stuff. And that being said, yeah,
if you
well,
put
I'm sorry.
I will promise you, if you put a bucket in your front yard and you practice dock shooting at that bucket, nearly every car that comes by will slow down and see what the hell you are doing.
They did that when I used to practice my cast net out in the front yard. My neighbors came out and say, "What in the tarnation?" I said, "I'm getting ready to catch chickens over at the Walmart." Still waiting for somebody to make that catfish bait video. I want someone to run into a Walmart with a cast net and throw it right over the poultry department, third section of the
I
freezer.
think James Dockery should make a video catching Katie's chickens like that, and then have their daughter video Katie beating his ass afterwards. That would be the most fun that you could have.
Speaking of Dockery, he is definitely one that loves to fish docks. We know that, don't we?
He does, and he's
That's
very
like his,
successful at it.
he is. That's like his jam. He loves vertical jigging off those docks with his I don't know. You think you get mad if you tell everybody what's he use on those? What's his favorite bait of choice?
Well, James is a jig fisherman. He also uses some different types of fishing plugs and stuff. He does not fish with worms and minnows and things like that. He don't need to, I guess. I mean, he catches all the fish that he wants, and but mostly jigs, I think, and he don't tip them with anything.
He loves them tube jigs. He loves them to death.
He is a tube jig guy, and he, like I say, he's really successful at it. Well, a couple of years ago, he caught over 5,000 fish in 1 year, and he was missed some from being sick. So ain't no telling how many he would have caught if he hadn't been sick. But yeah, he catches a lot of. He does love tube jigs, and I don't have the success with them he does. And he might get mad at me, but he likes small, tiny baits. He don't like big baits. And I build stuff here at the house and take pictures, and I take pictures of my jigs that I tie up for bluegill and put them beside a dime, and so you could have a comparison. He said, too big. And I downsize it and do another one. It's too big. Dude, I can't build them much smaller than that. Too big. But he likes small stuff.
SK, I had a question for SK in one of his lives, and he explained to me that the best reason for using really small baits is when they're real finicky, and not because they don't want to take your bait, because they're pretty quick at inhaling and exhaling them. So the lighter the bait, the deeper it's going to get inhaled, and the better your chances are of it getting hooked on the way out, just because you're covering more real estate inside the fish's mouth. So, which made a lot of sense to me. But my fishing here as of late, I've been catching some pretty small fish on some pretty big hooks, Lyle.
Really?
We're talking like 2-aught walleye hooks. I'm catching, like 3 and 4 inch catfish on them suckers.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's been pretty eye opening, so to say, or the fact that I've been trolling crankbaits at 2 miles an hour, and an 8-inch catfish will catch the darn thing.
Yeah.
It never ceases to amaze me what these fish will do and what they go after. So
it blows my mind the size hook and bait they can get in their mouth, and especially bluegill, because they have a tiny mouth.
They do.
Says the tube jigs are baffling. They look like nothing, but they sure do catch fish. I've often wondered if, when you're scooting them along the bottom, if they think they're a small crayfish. I mean, they really don't look like anything other than a squid, and we don't have any squids. So
maybe they just look at it and say, "Oh, what's that? Let's taste it."
let's
You
eat it.
don't know. Yeah, pretty much. I
Pretty
can
nice.
always spit it out if I don't like it, right?
I get they do. I mean, that's what happens if they don't get the hook. They just spit it out. Hey, there's downtown Ernie Brown.
And Schmieder the Cedars joined us. What's going on, Schmieder? How you doing? How you doing, Ernie? What's going on?
But yeah, I don't know what they think they are. But you're right. They do catch a lot of fish, and
Aaron says I can't use anything but Bobby Garland baby shad. Caught some monster crappie. Can't stop using them. I gotta go B.O. bog always because big crappie in my area. I gotta go big. The little swimmers are pretty much my confidence crappie bait, especially in the monkey milk. We've had this talk with Eric Massey. Monkey milk's probably responsible for more crappie dinners than any other color out there for the most part. So, yeah, those Bobby Garlands are good confidence baits too. They're one of my favorites. Welcome, Jody. Jody, are you now skiff Jody catfishing, or is it still pontoon Jody catfishing? I'm confused. Mr. Twisters are great baits too, 100%. I know a not so young lady that lives in Ohio. Well, she says she's young, but she's really not that young, who loves using Mr. Twisters. But I won't say that to her face because she makes that good breading that me and you like so much, Lyle.
Understand 100%. I do. I have had very limited success with plastics. I do catch some fish on it, but I have better luck with hand tools, and I don't know why. This I think it's a competence thing because if I don't get bit pretty quick with something, it comes off and something else goes on. And if it's a plastic and I'm not getting bit, I'm putting a hand tie on it because boom, I'll get hit right off the bat. I think a lot of that is action of those.
Could be.
I think a lot of it is, but if you're successful with something, you're going to have more confidence in it, and you're going to put it on more times than not. But with that being said, tube jigs are deadly in small creeks and stuff. My God, like I say, I don't know if they think that they're crawfish or what, but they absolutely will catch. If you're looking for bluegill for bait, that's one way of getting them quick.
You know, them two guys that are on the show with you on Monday night, they keep giving you a hard time. And I almost said, I don't know about hand ties, but the bass sure like them. But I didn't say that, Lyle. So
I have caught some pretty good basses, more than I have bluegill, that's for sure. But yeah, they and the late ones that like the last ones I sent you is what all them come off of too. They got a lot of action.
We got people sharing some of their favorite colors. We got Aaron saying he really likes green lantern, pearl, moon glow. I like pennyback and tuxedo shimmer is a good one. Mm-hmm. Key lime and purple swish. I like the purple swish color definitely. What other colors do you guys like using for your crappie jigs, whether it's hand tied or plastics? I want to hear it in chat. What's your favorite colors, Lyle?
I like chartreuse and black. I like purple and black. And I like orange and black.
All good colors.
I've had success with them. I mean, if it's working, you got to use it. Green and black's probably my favorite, and I consider it a natural type color. And if it's got some silver in it, that's even better because those are colors of fish.
I like white with a little bit of a tinsel in the tail for hand ties, a little bit of sparkle, and you can't forget about pink, Lyle.
That's true.
Pink's been used and probably one of the more used colors out there as well.
It's one of my favorite head colors, jig head colors. I really like pink jig heads, and I like the fluorescent pink best. Electric chicken, that's a good one.
Okay, here we go. Schmieder the Cheater says Black Widow, Minnow Minder, hard to beat for brim and crappie in the stained water. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I don't heard
Elect-
of that.
Electric chicken's another color that so many people have used. It's pretty hardcore color. This one, Lyle. Oh, I'm
JD Hill
losing.
says depending on watercolor, most of the time black is his color.
Am I back, Lyle, or am I frozen?
No, you're there.
Okay. Frozen for a second here.
Yeah, you're having some audio issues. Crappie are suckers for plastics. If I'm using crawlers for gills and get a crappie, I quickly switch to plastic. If I'm using plastics and get a gill, I'm switching to crawlers. I understand. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Did you read this one while I was frozen up there, Lyle? It's a,
No, I did not.
Ryan says I use three colors, period. Black, chartreuse, and natural clear with a flake.
Natural clear with a flake.
Like a monkey milk, but with a flake,
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah. That I would read it. There's 205 says you get monkey milk. Benoit. Whoop, where are you at? Above there. Benoit says black, white, and pink. Well, there's a green heart, so surely she's sneaking a green in too. I just use the Sickle Big Bite jig head, 8 yellow and white double jigging. That's something else. If you can set up 2 jigs on your rod and keep them from tangling, you can have 2 different depths of jigs out there, and a lot of times that is a very successful way to go.
The way I like setting up my double jig rigs is different from rivers and lakes. With lakes, I just tie right on. On the rivers, I'll always put a heavier jig at the bottom and tie like a 6-inch dropper up on the top. And this way the current kind of pulls that line straight and it keeps it all nice and neat. What are you laughing about, Lyle?
I'm getting ready to send it to you. I find it extremely
funny. All right.
I hope you find it as funny as I
do. I'm waiting for it to come through.
Man, the things I get sent in Messenger. At least this is something you can share.
I am going to share that one.
Here we go.
We're going to share this one out here for the good people. We should get that put on the Panfish Nation merch store right there.
I wonder if I can. I'm pretty sure we'll get more votes than Biden.
Make counterfeiting illegal again.
I can't believe I get that stuff sent to me, but funny it is. So hilarious is more like. There we go.
Oh, so back to docks, Lyle. I mean, we get off topic so easily here.
Well, I'm getting help tonight.
I fish docks quite a bit on the river, and my go-to way is either I'll use a Carolina rig, a light one, and get my baits underneath those docks that way. Cast in front of it, let it sink to the bottom, and let the current definitely drift that bait underneath. Also, obviously you had mentioned a float. That'll work too. There's also straight jigging. Like I was saying, I'm not real good at dock shooting, but the way that a lot of the docks here are set up, I can cast to the top side of the current, let it drift right underneath. As long as my boat's out in front, I usually don't get tied up pretty good, and that works out pretty good. What's going on, Jerry Parker? How you doing, my friend? What's up, John, over at Small Water Charters? And Greg Burgess is here too. What's going on, Greg? If I missed it earlier, I apologize.
Lance McCoo guy.
What's up, Lance?
Glad to see you guys all made it. But yeah, I'm I really think that dock shooting is a really good way to get underneath docks in the very hot part of summer. And that's not the only time you can do it, but you can get further up underneath of them doing that of any way that I know. But it does take some practice, and the bucket was the easiest way that
Hmm.
I could figure of how to do it. And I'm not sure somebody didn't recommend that to me. I don't remember, but I started doing it one afternoon, and my neighbor he was looking at me like, "There's something wrong with you." But how you don't want to be going out there and whacking people's stuff and making them mad. You just want to catch their fish.
100%. You know, another thing that I've learned about docks in my time fishing them is I can go back to the same docks at the same time of year and the fish will be there.
Yes.
I have one dock in particular that I fish here on this little local electric only lake where there's always crappie there at this time of year. From mid June until like the end of August, they're there. They might not be the biggest ones, but they're there. And one dock and 30 feet down, 30 feet down the bank, they're there under that second dock, and there's three in between them. I don't know why they don't hang under those three, but they like those two docks for some reason, and I couldn't tell you why, but they
It
do.
doesn't matter as long as they're there. Meter says cream 2-inch red chartreuse, black shad on 16th-inch head is stellar at times as well. And I agree. Jerry Parker says tube jig with a spinning rod, skip it under them. You can't do it from a distance for scooping fish. Makes sense to me. Whoop. Ryan says big dock shooting two might just be one pylon holding that dock in the middle full of crappies. Very true.
They're
Maybe
looking
good
for
comment.
sometimes the retrieve counts a lot when fishing with jigs. 100% slower is better. Um, and I've said this again time and time again. I like to reel my crappie jigs so slow it's almost painful. It's where you're getting nervous. You want to get that bait back so you can cast it, but don't give up on that cast. Just reel as slow as possible, and
Oh, you can.
that'll usually get you a bite.
JG Hill says we used 2-foot rods for flipping back in the day.
Hmm.
Ice rods, basically. I would assume.
I'm better at skipping a jig under a dock than I am at actually dock shooting. That
You
works
probably
well
put
for
more
me.
with it.
Yeah.
Well, right now, I think that you just need to get out and fish because the fish got to be biting. And anywhere there's going to be shade, there's going to be fish. I believe that, especially with panfish. Um, if you was catfishing, I can see the catfish can go down deep enough to get in cooler water. Panfish normally don't do that because they'll get scarfed up, but they will be under docks, underneath overhanging trees. Any place there is shade, and if there's rocks or tree limbs falling in the water, that's just so much more the better.
The hotter the day and the higher the sun, the better the shade is going to do for you.
I agree.
I recall one time I was up here on the chain and I was fishing this one spot off the bank and nothing. I look over and there's a tree hanging over there, and I walked over there and bam, they were all under there. It was like nonstop for like 30 minutes straight. It was ridiculous how much fish was packed into that shaded area right there.
I will also say that this time of the year, a good topwater bug on a fly rod is amazing. You can have a lot of fun and catch a lot of bluegill doing that.
Ryan says, yeah, for crappie, super slow. And sometimes even then you'll feel the bite and they'll drop it 100%.
That they will.
He also said sometimes real fast with a pause, real fast with a pause. You know, it's funny that he mentioned that, Lyle. I think you and I might need to go shopping here next week.
Have you got an empty credit card or one?
No, not an empty credit card, but I need to try a couple of those the Rapala, the real small jerk baits.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to try those, I think, for panfish and for crappie.
How many different ones do they offer?
More than 3, which is all I plan on buying.
I'm thinking 3 or 4 of each one.
No. Maybe after we order your barbecue shack materials.
Don't I wish? I had to pay to get that lawnmower fixed. I told you what that cost. Holy crap! I don't want to get off topic, but
no, we never do that, Lyle.
There's a place here in town that sells campers and kind of a used car lot. They sell new and used campers and things like that. They have a mini house on wheels that you could pull in and set up someplace and call it your weekend cabin. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I look at them and I'm thinking, 15,000-20,000 ought to kill it. They start at $100,000.
Yep.
And I'm thinking anybody that'd buy one of them for that kind of money should be put in a penitentiary for being stupid. There's no friggin' way that's worth $100,000. No way. Holy crap. I can't believe people would pay that for one of them.
The world is off the rocker.
Well, I can give you you know what I think.
I know. I agree with a lot of it too. JG says, does anyone still put out Christmas trees for brush piles? We did this for years. Some of those spots are still around. JG, our local park district did that in a couple of local spots here. And I don't know what happens because this is a local lake with no real current to it. And they disappear after like 5 years. So maybe they're a lot bigger size than the ones they put in there. But and I've never really had much luck fishing Christmas trees. I know a pile of like 8 Christmas trees over on Rock Cut State Park, and other than losing jigs in it, the crappie don't seem to gravitate to that. I don't know what it is or why. I think those Christmas tree piles do a lot better for giving safe harbor to bait fish, as far as I'm concerned. At least that's how I treat them. Don't worry, I'm on his tricks. Hey, there's Crappie Day Fish On channel supporter. Thanks for coming in. Says, yes, Mark, the small Rapala jerks are fun too. If they hit it hard. Fun and just different. I definitely want to try some of those. There's my buddy Tim Molina. What's up, Tim? How you doing, player?
Glad to see Tim in here. How small are those jerkbaits?
I think they're like 2 inches, Lyle, if I'm not mistaken. I'm taking a guess. I don't have the actual measurement in front of me, but I'm guessing they're small. You need to order about half a dozen in each color, Lyle.
I don't think so. I don't use them.
You will after this.
I guess I have to use them.
If I buy them and I like them that much and they work, I might have to send you one just to get you hooked, like your dealer.
I understand. Yeah. Hey, Jody says, I'm back. I had to take a little nap. If you nap since the last time you was in chat a while ago, that was a power nap.
Wow. She's dreaming of big fish and white t-shirts.
I'm okay.
She is the lady in white.
Oh. Okay. I don't remember that, but
not really. Long story.
Okay. I'm trying to decipher Parker's.
If you can find a beat, I know you got to be careful reading Parker's comments. You don't know where he's coming from.
Or where he's going.
Well, we can take a guess at where he's going, and it's usually the wrong side of town, Lyle. Parker says, if you can find a beaver lodge, is that the name of the nightclub? Oh, wait a minute. I thought maybe that's the name of the bar he hangs out at. Or its food pile under the water. Great place for panfish.
Yeah, it could be. Joey said she lost a bet and had to wear white. Well, first I've heard of that. First I have heard of that.
I got pictures. I can show them to you, Lyle, after.
Oh.
Don't read that.
He's like the clown that's in the
sewer
sewer drain.
Anyways,
I got fishing gear down here.
hey, I got a little more class than that. I use a white van, Lyle.
Okay. As long as it's not a white Bronco. Oh.
I have no idea what Jody's talking about. It says, I thought that was the Regal Beagle off Three's company. That show's before my time.
I remember when it wasn't a Regon.
I don't. I think I was 4.
Oh, she don't want you to show them pictures.
Considering done, Lyle.
Okay. I'll wait.
So, Lyle, what's your plans for fishing the next few days once your back settles down?
Once my back settles down, I'm going after them big bluegill. Got to have some of them, and I'm ready. I think that the mid part of Lake Ozark, in the next few days, all the catfish should pretty much be done spawning, and that's the grand arm of Grand River. It should have blues and flatheads and channel cats should all be done up there. I'm looking forward to getting over there and doing some drifting on the flats. I think it'd be a good time to catch some of those, but 10, 12-inch bluegill, I gotta have some of them. That's just amazing, and I'll probably take, I don't know, 20 or 30 boxes of stuff.
Take all of that.
I want to make sure I got what I need. I'll be taking hand ties and plastics and.
You ever heard of the term analysis paralysis, Lyle?
No, I've heard of test and procedure. So you got to take them all. That way, one ain't working. Try something else.
There ain't enough time in a day to test all your stuff. That's how much you got.
I do have a couple.
Here, this is my recommendation for you. Get you some Aberdeen hooks, some split shot and a bobber. Stop and get you some red worms or night crawlers, whatever you like.
Got all that.
Find the fish and then start experimenting once you find them.
Well, red worms and night crawlers, either one work good for that. The red worms, seems like you get a little more of them, but you don't have to use a very big chunk of a night crawler.
Right.
Small Aberdeen hook, like a number 8 in the cricket shank length, where they're easy to get a hold of to get the hooks out of them because they'll swallow them. Especially if some of them probably have been done spawning for a while, and some of them are on their second go round when the new moon shows up. So those fish are going to be aggressive and they're going to swallow them little hooks. So if you use the ones that got the little short shanks on them, you're going to kill a lot of fish. If you're not harvesting them, they're going to die. Make sure you have a pair of needle nose pliers or something to get them out with. If you're going
or hemostats help, or
something like that, yeah.
Or a fish pick, you can get those from ice fishing supply houses, or you can use a chopstick and cut a little V in one side, and that works great too.
Yep, anything like that to make sure that if you're going to release them, you want them to live, and if they're going to be bleeding profusely, go ahead and harvest the fish, unless it's just so tiny you can't get and it's just not worth it. But I don't like them to bleed too much if I can keep them. If I'm going to release them, but the other thing you can do if you're a cat fisherman, also, you can take them home and put them in the freezer and freeze them, and use them for cut bait later on. So vacuum sealer helps out with that a lot.
Or you can even cut the line because them fish will work that hook out on their own, believe it or not. They probably got a better chance of living that way than if you just kind of rip the hook out of there. And like I was telling Lyle a couple of shows ago, if not many times before, I find a lot of little brass hooks in the bottom of my bait tank, and that's what that's from.
I don't know how they get that done, but they do.
I got no clue, but I find them in there, Lyle.
I cleaned my live well out the other day, and I found pieces of rock in there bigger than my thumb. They'd spit up pieces of rock. So now them was catfish, but still, just to be
well,
in there.
they probably, if they're on mussel beds and they're eating, whether it's zebra mussels or whatever kind of freshwater mussels you
They
got in
suck
your
up
water,
whatever's there.
they're picking up rocks for sure.
That's exactly right.
We can ask that Dieter guy, how that comes out. He's got experience, but
Yes, he does. I prefer chunk of crawler over redworms. Crawlers have a much better profile. I have better success with night crawlers than I do redworms, but I have a box of redworms, so we're going to use them. And I do have a box of night crawlers too. But I take a pair of scissors and chop them just little pieces up. That's all you need.
Give me a second to defend my choice of redworms. Now
Okay.
I have found I use a number 2 hook, Lyle. You're talking about a number 8 hook, 6 hook. Those are a lot smaller than I use. When I use a number 2 hook, I like to put the redworm on there, also known as trout worms, on there, and I like to leave a tail or two hanging off there quite a bit. I have a lot better luck when they come up and they suck the tail of that worm in or the end of that worm in. That seems to bring the hook in their mouth, and I get a lot more hookups on the top of the roof of the mouth. That's what works for me. That's how come I like red worms a lot better. And they seem to work better. I think they present themselves better in the water when you got that little piece on each end hanging off that hook, and it just works well for me. So
are you using a number 2 hook for bluegill?
I am, and I don't miss very many of them.
Wow.
I use those Pro V's, so. But then again, I catch beast bluegill, unlike most. So
evidently,
sort of sound like your other son Chad.
I use 6, 8, 10s, and 12 size hooks for bluegill.
12s.
Even when I'm tying jigs, a lot of times I'll use 12s, even 14s. Now, I can't really do much smaller than that if I'm tying flies and stuff because it gets so small it's hard to see and get done what I want to do. But it just depends on the time of the year and what they're feeding on.
There's our buddy Dawson fishing with Squirrel. What's going on, Dawson? Hope things are well your way.
Mark Barnum says hemostats, since they are not needed for other things at this point of life. Well, I'm not so sure from none of the people I've met in this town I live in, but that's just me. But I use them for fishing. And holding jigs when I take pictures and stuff. Yellow grasshoppers out here in Okie land now. Hard for bluegill to resist. They do like them, and they love crickets.
I've seen bluegill like attack insects on the top of the water and stuff, but I've never tried using them for bait. I think I need to try that one of these days here soon.
I watched a video today of a guy down in Florida that does a lot of pan fishing. He catches a lot of cichlids and different things that is interesting to me because we don't have them where we're at. He had a new bait. It was a white cricket-looking bait, and he was catching a lot of fish on them and caught a giant leopard something. And he caught 2 small bass. The ones that come from down in Brazil.
The peacock bass?
Peacock bass. They wasn't very big. They fought hard. They looked like they was a blast. He caught 2 of those. and a couple other cichlids. But that leopard fish that he caught looked to be around 15 inches. He caught it on 3-pound test line, and he called it an ultra line. And he was a while getting it in. It was pretty fun to watch, and he was just fishing a ditch down there that had water in it, basically.
Those ditches down in Florida, they got all sorts of cool fish in them. They're not supposed to be there, but they're in there, and those the peacock bass, snakehead, and I'd like to go like cichlid fishing, take a trip down there and just fish for those for
I would
like
too.
a weekend or something.
Yeah, this guy he goes to Thailand catching fish. I hope he's in the military or what, but he's all over the place, different countries catching small fish, and he's got a real successful channel. If I'd have thought I'd have had his information and had it ready for everybody, but I will try to do that for next week because it's a really good channel that should be checked out a little more often, probably because the guy catches a lot of fish and he's very good about explaining things. Kind of like the guy we're going to have next week, Mark.
Ryan here says yes with a tail, and then if you start missing a lot, and they're cleaning that off the hook, usually it's a green. It's green signage. Take the tail off and use little pieces. Always adapt. There's Chadwick. What's going on, Chad? How you doing, bud?
Hey, buddy. Glad to see you. There's Jesse. Dan Thompson.
Dan Thompson, channel supporter. What's going on, Jesse? How you doing, bud?
Glad to see Dan in here tonight. Tim Molina says bluegill are stupid. They will strike at anything. Well, you got a point. They kind of will.
Cheetos, hot dogs, bacon, whatever you want to waste at them. Shrimp.
They'll pretty much eat anything. I've thrown crickets out, caught them in the grass, thrown them out when I was a kid, little grasshoppers, and the littlest bluegill will attack a big grasshopper. They might just get a leg off of it, but they'll attack it.
Lyle, when we were kids, and this is how we would know if there was fish at a dock or not. We would just lean our heads over the side of that dock and spit. And if they came up and hit that spit, there was fish there. It was time to fish that dock. 100%.
Ryan says they hit cigarette butts, and they do. They will hit cigarette butts. I've seen them do it. They'll eat anything. There's no question about it. But there's something about worms and bluegill that go hand in hand. And if you're having a bad day, if you can't catch bluegill with some type of fishing worm, you're probably in trouble because they're not doing anything because they love worms.
Agreed. 205. 205 all actions is a big bluegill will put an ultralight to the test. 100%.
That is correct. Cheetos are cheaper than worms. And you can eat the leftovers.
Speaking of Cheetos, you tried those Cajun hot ones yet, Lyle? Those are pretty good.
No, I haven't. I didn't see any yet.
Those are pretty good. A little off topic there. And
us?
I went and I got 3 dozen worms the other day to go walleye fishing with, Lyle. You know what I paid for them at Walmart? $14.
For what?
3 dozen night crawlers.
$14 for 3 dozen night crawlers. I need to buy them, ship them up to you from here. Because they're not near that here.
We need to start a business. Mark and Lyle's Worm Farm.
I don't know. That seems like a lot of work.
At $5 a dozen, it does not.
$5 a dozen. I think they're like 3 something a dozen here. If they's $5 a dozen, I probably wouldn't buy them.
Walmart, they were what, $3.99 plus tax, about $14 all set out the door.
Wow. Well, the bait shops won't be any cheaper.
Bait shop be more expensive.
I would think so, yeah. Wow. Maybe worm farming this week.
We can do like Hogleg. Hogleg had a worm farm going.
How'd that turn out for him?
I don't know. He had a whole bunch. Feels the Water says Lyle and Mark's slogan, our worms stick together. No wonder he's in management, not marketing, Lyle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I think that if you're wanting to catch bluegill, you should be gold right now. From here on out, the bluegill should be raring to go. Crappie are off the nest, I'm sure, everywhere now, and they'll be in a summer pattern, and you just got to find them and catch them because they won't be where they was a month ago because they was up shallow, and they're probably going to be deeper now.
heck, I caught like a dozen on the river, which is not something I usually fish for on the river, but I've been doing a little exploring. On Tuesday, I found a big old pot of them, but they were tiny. So hopefully we'll be able to find some bigger ones on the river with all them flathead there. That might not be a possibility. But you know what I like? I like the fact that I found those little fish and I know where the flathead are going to be feeding on them at night. So when I finally decide to get back out there and spend a whole night chasing them, I know where to start 100%.
Mark Barnum says an extension cord and a pair of electric fence posts will be cheaper than Walmart for one. I agree. If you know where the night crawlers are at, thank you so much, 205. We appreciate it. If you know where they're at, get you a 5-gallon bucket and get some fast orange hand cleaner. Mix it up in that 5-gallon bucket of water. Pour it on the ground. If there is fishing worms in that area, I don't know what it is about that, but they will come right to the top. They won't pass go, and you don't have to worry about them collecting $200 because something about the citric acid in that orange hand cleaner will bring them out of the ground.
It works with dishwashing soap too, Lyle.
Okay.
That works pretty good. And I know the electric the electric trick. We used to use that when we were kids too. Only thing we would be like the shenanigans trying to touch each other with that damn thing. And yeah, we were Gen X, man. We did not care.
Be like my oldest son talking my younger son into peeing on the electric fence. Only once he got that done. Oh man, he was mad.
Thank you, 205 Wild Action, for supporting the channel. We appreciate it
We
100%.
appreciate it so very much.
Very cool. Jody says she has a worm farm. Maybe we can call her and get some tips.
Maybe she just send us some. She calls them bait. Huh. 8-foot umbrella rig with 3H mesh.
That's an Illinois, Alabama rig right there, Lyle.
I think you're right.
You're very welcome, bud.
Thanks so much. We appreciate all the support we get from everybody. Mark, we're running over just a little bit here, but I do want to mention that Caleb Hensley with 903 Fishing will be our guest next Wednesday night. Caleb's getting married, so we'll talk about that a little bit. He's getting ready to turn over 100,000 subs, so we want to help push him over that. If we can help him get a few more, that'd be great. I know we got some great supporters that watch our show, and he's a great guest. We've had him on before, and you guys can ask questions. He'll answer them, and we're going to have a lot of fun with Caleb. We're going to talk about bluebill and crappie fishing also, so you're gonna tune into that. It'd be a great show. We'll get a thumbnail put up early for that, so everybody can do it. When you see it, please share it so we get as many supporters in to help Caleb get that 100,000. Because that's a big milestone for you two guys, and he deserves it. He's worked hard for it.
I agree, Lyle. I can't wait till next week. I'm looking forward to that show. Caleb's a good dude.
He is. It'll be a lot of fun, and
not
sure. Pardon me.
He does a lot for the kids at his school and his community and stuff.
He does.
He sure knows how to fill a stringer with crappie or bluegill for sure.
He does. He does really well. Mike Irwin, it's okay. Welcome, buddy. We're gonna have a good time with him. I don't know what's going on tomorrow night, if the bait shop's on or off. I'd tune in if it was me, just because. But you never know.
You never know. I heard they were on strike, so who knows? Tune in tomorrow to see if there's a show or not.
Hell, maybe Jody's going to take over that spot.
Could be.
You just don't know. But anyhow, Friday night, Jody will be on her fishing thing right after Stan Smith. So got that going on. I'm sure there's something going on Saturday and Sunday. Don't know what any of it is yet. My back gets feeling better. I'll probably be mowing all weekend after not being able to mow all last week. And let's see, Monday night Catfish Weekly. You doing any fishing?
I was gonna go fish tomorrow, but I got a conference call tomorrow at 11 o'clock of all times. Really ruined my morning. I was thinking about going either late in the evening or early Friday morning. So yeah, I'm gonna try and get out there. So
yeah, I'm going to go just as soon as my back eases up. If that's tomorrow, I'll be going. If it's Friday, whenever it is that it's slacked up, because they usually want you to take a day or two of not doing too much after they give you them shots. And I don't sure as hell don't want to go back for more until I have to. But it's become a common thing. And I did ask the guy, Mark, I said, isn't there something we can do to permanently solve this problem where I don't have to keep coming? And he says, not really. That didn't sound real promising to me. It might be time to get a second opinion.
I don't have very many good comments when it comes to medicine, modern medicine, Lyle. So,
well, I think they just way to get your insurance. Kind of like them.
Anyway, why don't we say goodnight to all the good folks out
Let's
there?
do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. We sure appreciate you. We'll be here next Wednesday night at 7 with Caleb Hensley. Thanks for watching.
Get out and fish, folks.